And our special guest tonight, Mellon Thomas Benedict, he died and came back. Up next, some of his prophecy on Coast to Coast AM. We're with Mellon Thomas Benedict right here on Coast to Coast AM. And Mellon, this experience had a profound effect on you to the point that you have now picked up, and I don't know whether it was just knowledge or was it guidance, where you've learned things about, the future, earth changes, your own life, destiny for all of us. Are you almost like on a mission?
Well, I'm on a mission of health, and also a mission of what is called self-initiation. We're coming into a period now where, especially, the example is like what just happened to the economy. Why are we all listening to these people? Why did we listen to them? It turned out they didn't know that much, and they were manipulating us. And I think a lot of huge mistakes were made. So we're coming into a point now of self-initiation, and that's if I'm on any mission, it's to create heaven on earth.
Well, you're getting there now. Are there other people like you out there doing the same thing? Is this almost like an army of people that have died and have come back?
Well, in one of my visits with the light, I was told that the near-death experience, and this is, way back then, I was told that the near-death experience would become more and more popular, and it would have an effect on the entire world when a critical mass was hit where all these people have died and come back. And are telling you that it's there's a lot more going on than what we think. It's getting over the fear of death is one of the first phases of self-initiation, because once you get over the fear of death and realize that you have been alive forever already, and you will be alive forever no matter what, in fact no one can manipulate you. The old fears don't manipulate you anymore. Although I have no fear of death, I respect life more and more. I used to skydive and rock climb and all that, and after my near-death experience, I respect life so much that I wouldn't dare take a chance on throwing it away on something so frivolous. So it's given me respect for life, not a fear. And as we move into the future, we're going to start realizing that this whole thing about prophecy is most of. I was told when I'm with the light that all the true ancient prophecies will end in our lifetime, and they will be no more. And they all have to deal with the end of the world, don't they?
They sure do.
And we're going to get past that point of this end of the world. And in fact, the end of the world has a history. People should check it out. How many times have prophets told people there was going to be an end of the world?
Every civilization, every one.
and also the odd thing about prophecy is that most prophets have not ever been right. And in fact, if they get one thing right in their life, that's a career. And so that do you know who's been more accurate about predicting the future than prophets?
I would say, well, this is a quiz, right? But I would say Edgar Cayce was one of them.
He was interesting, but there have been people more accurate than him. And
Nostradamus?
No, not at all. Not at all. I was shown that that the people that have been the most accurate about predicting the future have been the fantasy writers.
Good point.
They have been more accurate than anybody, and I was given a lesson of, say, Jules Verne's. Remember Jules Verne?
Absolutely.
And in my book, it's called The Jules Verne's Effect. And I was shown that Jules Verne wrote about things that did not exist. Technologies did not exist in his time. And all the children that read those books went out and invented those things and more. Isn't that interesting?
But something happened to him, Mellon. I don't know whether he was a time traveler or a remote viewer or what, but something happened to him to allow him to have a vision of the future.
Absolutely. And so I was also taught about Star Trek, the Star Trek effect on the planet. Who was it? Gene Roddenberry?
Gene Roddenberry.
Unbelievable, the material he pulled in. And I was shown that at any given moment on planet Earth now, Star Trek is being shown somewhere. And it's constantly in consciousness. And I was told that everything you see on Star Trek will be manifested, and the children that watch this will make all of that, including the replication technologies. All of that is coming, and some of it's here now.
Or absolutely. I mean, even though Dick Tracy had that watch he talked into, Star Trek also had those little handheld devices that were like cell phones. And
didn't they heal with light too, amazingly fast?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the thing about prophecies is that we've got to get over this end of the world stuff and get past it. I was also shown, and I honestly believe most biblical scholars know this, and some of them tell you the truth, is that most of the prophecies you've ever heard about, the ancient ones, already have happened. They were written for people in their own times and were fulfilled in their own times.
But this is what concerns me about prophecy, though. In end times, eventually one of them is going to get it right.
Well, there is not going to be an end times, and that's why this is all going to end within the next couple of generations. We're going to actually transform. This is why the near-death experience is really big on helping us transform. And we're going to transform over the next 75 to 100 years into completely different creatures than we know now.
Is it going to be gradual, or?
Well, it's been gradual. In fact, the amazing thing that I was shown is that we're technically there now. We're at a time that's never happened before in history. We're technically at a time in history where we can transcend survival en masse. We can technically clothe, comfort, feed, and educate every human on Earth right now. And this has never happened before, and it will continue to grow. And so we're in a most beautiful time, actually. Although there's still a lot of all kinds of people trying to manipulate us, but that's been from day one. And manipulation is something that all of nature does, by the way. Flowers do it, trees do it, bugs do it. All God's creatures do it. We always try to manipulate things to our benefit. So it's trying to manipulate things is as natural as it gets.
No,
actually.
But when you say, Mellon, we're not going to have end times. Don't worry, this is not going to get. But you're not saying we're not going to get hit by an asteroid one day or some kind of life-threatening thing happens to us, right?
I was shown the mass potential of the Earth, and the beautiful thing is, no, we will not. The interesting thing is that the Earth will die, though. The sun will die and the Earth will die eventually, and we have about another good 10,000 years on Earth. But in the next 400 years, we will begin star-seeding other planets. We're like the little birds that can't stay in the nest forever. Our manifest destiny is to take life with us into the stars.
As they did probably with us, maybe.
As where we came from originally. And so this is our manifest destiny. And believe me, once we have the replication technologies and diamonds and gold don't mean anything anymore, and free energy is a metaphor for free spirit. It's not actually being suppressed like people think, because when a time is right for an idea, nothing can suppress it. So free energy
even if they try.
Even if they try. Just like, all the blacksmiths tried to hold back the automobile and they couldn't. So when the time is right, and the time is more right than ever at this point for these new energy devices to come out, and believe me, if we don't do it, China will, somebody will. And so these are all about to pop out in the next 50 years, and probably in the next 5 or 10 years, actually, we'll be seeing these things, and they're that close to manifesting and being here. So the future, so free energy is about free spirit. Are we ready to be free? If we are, then all these ideas that represent freedom will manifest.
Did you, prior to the near-death experience, did you have this outlook of life? I don't think you did you?
No, I didn't. And I believe the world was a very dangerous, negative place. I believe that the world was going to end in my lifetime. And I believed humans were dark and evil. And
some are.
Well, actually, I have seen people that you might consider evil. But then I asked this question on the other side. I asked, why are humans so dark and evil? And the light turned into a mandala, if you know what that is, or